We're back for our audience and Rethink. So we've been switching it up a little bit. So usually when we used to ask about people's take on like the audience, it was kind of like, you know, family, friends, like specifically evangelistically. So that's still kind of a component. But another one is when we watch things and thinking about discernment, that sometimes we should be aware that there are things, not even because they're just like blanketly rated R or whatever, that are less edifying for us, but there might be themes, there might be imagery, there might be ideas that are like, if you're feeling not great about certain things, like this might not be the movie for you, or if you're feeling challenged by certain things, this might be a great movie for you. So as kind of an example, even for me personally, I was really, and I still got to spend some time this week and process, I just got hit in the soul by the first couple lines of This Is What It Sounds Like, that the song, like when Rumi comes back on stage. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, dang, like this is hitting some things that I'm like actively, literally thinking about and processing, and like have had a very, very hard time coming to terms with. And so for me, if like you're someone who's really struggling with this idea of like, who am I? And like, I'm imperfect, but I don't really know like where I fit and if that's allowed to be imperfect and stuff like that. Like, I think this is actually a great movie to maybe just like, deep breath. Yes, everybody's got their things and working through it is part of the process and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, I could see it being someone where like if music and flashy lights and stuff is kind of distracting for you and like you're not going to really sit with it, like I think it's still worth watching and like you'll have a good time. But there might just be some things that are happening that are, you know, really good. But anyway,
for sure.
So for your perspective, like who do you think are some audiences that are like, yeah, I think people in this phase of life are dealing with these things, this would really hit home in a good way. And then maybe some people who would be like, this might be like, sort through some stuff first and then.
Yeah, totally. I think honestly, this would resonate really well. Like this film is almost like tailor-made for like a younger adult audience. Like even the kids that'll be like in this classroom soon, because it's just like, even animation, down to the animation style enough where it's like engaging and captivating for them, but you don't have to dig very deep to see those themes that we've been talking about either. It's very relatable off the bat. Anyone can follow along with it. And like you said too, it's like just fun and catchy and captivating enough that any age group, like even if you're a really little kid, could just sing along and not really follow along with the themes. But I think it's tailor-made for those that can just see beyond like what's literally on the screen and just see like, oh, like you said, like you hear the song lyrics and you're like, oh, that's like something in you clicks with that. And you're like, that's really cool, or that just resonates with me, and you think about it after and it sticks with you. As for those who maybe it's not the best for, coming from a PK family, I could definitely see how like the imagery of like, you know, demons, even though they make it fun and goofy, a la like I would even say like a la like Pixar, Disney themed. They make it fun and goofy, but for Christian families that I definitely know a lot of that are like absolutely not. I could see that being the case. I would feel comfortable showing this to like, I mean, easy for me to say because I don't have a kid, but like once my kid was like I'm trying to think of an age. Like once they're like in 5th grade, once you're capable of reading beyond, I'm like, this is fine. You can see it and you can still have fun with it. I mean, I've been doing all my runs and listening to the soundtrack over and over, so I can say for sure that the music's catchy enough that kids will love it too. But it's funny because I just showed this to a bunch of my friends too, and they had we were at a place where there were older people as well, and it's funny because they looked at it and they kind of just went like, oh, it's kind of like a cool action style thing, but it was kind of cool seeing their reaction, how they just looked at the animation and kind of went over their heads like, oh, it's just a cool show, and that's kind of it. So it might not tailor as much to a much older audience. I could see that. But for those that are willing to sit through the whole thing, and it's not very long either, but those that are willing to sit through the whole thing, young adults, even down to those younger 5th grade ages, probably, I think it'll work for them as well.
Yeah, I like that take on the 5th grade element because I think this movie is approachable enough that you could almost call it like a training wheels analyzer. Like,
big time.
I don't know if that's
no,
an accurate term.
No, that's a good one.
Go for it.
No, I agree. I was gonna say training wheels. That's a really good term for it. Like getting them introduced without throwing them in the deep end.
Yeah, like where it's like there's enough going on. You've got the elements of the music that the lyrics are kind of like direct to what's happening, but they're artfully written, so you kind of have to put some things together. There's things that I always appreciate when movies do this personally, when some of the themes are hit at, but they're done in a way where it's like, it's not super direct where it's like, she's insecure, but it's like, you have like an argument that breaks out and then someone says something or they behave in a certain way and you're like, oh, because this is what's happening. And like all the puzzle pieces are starting to fit together. So, if you're old, you won't like it. No, I'm kidding. But so first question in our Rethink section I want to ask you is, when we were talking in the hall, you were talking to Gloria, who also had seen it, and you were both kind of like dancing around, like not spoiling things.
Yeah.
But you talked about a moment specifically that a creator on the show or the movie had said you had seen in an interview or something that you were like, as soon as I saw this, I thought of like Bible stuff and Christ-like themes. Well, like, walk us through, like, what was that scene? What did you see? And like, why do you think that moment and all the context is important?
Absolutely. I remember I was trying my best not to spoil it for you because I really wanted you to watch it. But I was talking about the lead up to and the song Your Idol, because I remember watching it with my wife and thinking, man, this is just like down to the words. This is like spot on. I don't know if they meant this, but even the phrasing they're using, I was like, I'm thinking Moses and the calf and the Israel. I was like, did they do this on purpose? And I watched the movie like maybe 2-3 times since then. and I've listened to the song hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And every time I do, I'm like, it had to be on purpose. And then I came across this interview, but I read it in an article form, of one of the creators, one of the writers on K-pop Demon Hunters. And they were saying how they brought their own past in the church. And they brought that into their writing. They said, that's definitely where we got the idea of when it comes to idleness. That's where we got the term for it. And it's so funny because the whole movie, if you know anything about K-pop culture, they call them K-pop idols, like American Idol, K-pop idols. But the flip is like clearly, and say your idol, and they're talking about like, I'm coming to save you, like this, and then finally, they end it with like, no one's here to save you. I'm dragging you down now, this kind of thing. I was like, this, if you like took these lyrics and just typed them out, it would be
I did.
Yeah,
I am
did?
here.
I was gonna say,
I'll read a couple.
I was like, this, I can't think of a more spot on way to put into language the literal transition of literally falling into idolatry, of following this thing and being obsessed and being like putting it up on this pedestal. And as this thing is going up, you're being dragged down. I was like, and they put a beat on it, and I was like, "This is,"
and it's slick, and they got the demon fingers.
I don't know if they meant like they're hitting high notes. I was like, I don't know if they meant to make this lesson so compared to a lot of the other stuff, which, like I said, is just below the surface. It was so nice that they made this feel so in your face. And I'll probably say this again later on, and I think I said this to you too. All this movie proved to me is that if demons ever did come as a cape, we would be cooked. If they did this in real life, we would be finished. Because
goat strategy, we're done.
Because we would all be walking to the fire with everybody else. But it did not surprise me, and it made me even more excited about the film. The fact that they purposefully put that in there, and that there was that influence. Because I was like, yes. PCT, let's go. I'm gonna.
Well, dude, if you want to get really nerdy, and actually, you're leading into another question. So, because I literally was thinking it might have been this moment.
Oh yeah.
First is, and I want to be careful because I don't know if Huntrix they had like a shape for their like if you remember in the movie, there's those little wands or whatever.
Yeah.
And Saja's wand has like the inverted pentagon.
Oh,
which
did it? Okay.
Which if you put a shape in there is a pentagram,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
And then to that, then their logo being a lion, which is a Bible verse of like the devil prowls around like a roaring lion to seek and destroy, which I thought was like, I was like, ooh, I don't think they did that on purpose, but fits well. So to this song, so I have some of the lyrics here, and I wanted to sit with some of them because I think when we talk about like media analysis and like kind of catching these little moments, it's sometimes is, yes, the whole big thing, but sometimes it's the little like one liner where you're like, oh frick. Like, that hit on something big that we need to discuss. So
totally.
Here are some of the words that I'm going to read, which is going to sound really cheesy. So go listen to the soundtrack or watch the movie if you're interested.
You won't regret it.
But this is from the song Idol. So keeping you in check, keeping you obsessed, play me on repeat, endlessly in your head. Anytime it hurts, play another verse. I can be your sanctuary. No, I'm the only one right now. I will love you more when it all burns down. More than power, more than gold. Yeah, you gave me your heart. Now I'm here for your soul. I'm the only one who will love your sins. Feel the way my voice gets underneath your skin. So I was listening to that as it was going, and just like the hypnotic and the whole scene is just done incredibly with the colors, and you're like, it is captivating. Yeah. The line that this isn't the song I mentioned earlier, but the line that I was like, oh frick, we got to dive into this is, anytime it hurts, play another verse. I can be your sanctuary. I have never heard, and not heard in a long time, a description of like our modern entertainment and media culture, where it's like, because and I'm going to just pass the ball over to just let you run, and then maybe we'll just kind of be throwing it back and forth. But take me into your thoughts on those couple lines and how it connects to how we are using art and media and pop culture today as consumers.
Yeah. And I, like you said, the wording of it immediately catches you off guard, because you're like, sanctuary, whoa, like how often do you hear that being used?
Right. Yeah.
But it's true, like the picture that they paint in that first verse, and as it goes on, it just weaves this tapestry of like an image. You can just see it so clearly. The first thing you see and hear is like an image of someone in pain, someone who's trying to numb themselves, someone who's trying to pass this on. And the fact that it's, I mean, in this example, it's the Saja Boys. They're offering themselves as shelter, as cover from the storm. They're saying, just keep it going. Like, you don't need to focus on the thing that's hurting you. And this may be a bit of a reach, but even what we talked about earlier, when I was saying like, it's the stuff that we want to avoid, the slow, painful sanctification. It's like we want to get away from that. And they're saying, you don't have to sit in that. You can just numb yourself with this over and over again. And music, entertainment in our culture offers like numbness as like one of its biggest marketing things. Like, that's what they market themselves on, is play this and we'll tell you how to think and how to feel so that you don't have to. Like, we'll take it from here. Like, we'll take the wheel for you. And that like offers a lot of relief for people who don't want to sit in like life, because life sucks sometimes. People don't want to sit in it. And that's a good distraction.
It's real.
It's good.
No, okay. So I got the ball now. I got it. So I am actually doing a couple talks here at Eastbrook, and the term that I kind of have is like the whole series is being in digital exile. And the heart behind that term was that if we kind of look at what we're dealing with in our modern culture right now, a lot of it is that like when a group of people is in exile, they're kind of allowed to live, they're kind of allowed to do their thing up to a point. And then the powers that be get to decide and influence and create this kind of like water that it's kind of like either sink or swim. And swimming means getting rid of what you used to have in a bad way. And sinking is like, yeah, you can hang on to that, but we can't promise that it's going to be good for you in the long run. And so I think what you hit on just now with this idea of numbing and sanctification and like avoiding that is, because I've been trying to put it into words why I feel so gross sometimes having to like make content and stuff, is because it's literally designed and hardwired to get you to stay and to not think and to zone out and to scroll. And it's like hypnosis. It's literal digital hypnosis, where it's just kind of like, all right, next video, next dog, next thing, next comedy. And then, you're like, oh, I don't even know what happened today. Versus that whole 30 minutes, an hour that you do that and sitting and being like, I haven't been feeling good. Like inside, like I've been upset, I've been angry, I've been hurt, I've been whatever. And so what do you think it looks like for us, and we are going to kind of talk about this in the series at Eastbrook. So if you can make it, you should come. But what do you think it takes for us to like push back against those powers who are kind of controlling this digital exile that we're in? Because their message and their influence and what they want is what the Saja boys are pitching, which is, you're hurting your thing, like, hey, just watch a movie, watch 4 more movies, just binge. Yeah. Like, it's that escapism.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's not bad because we're having a deep conversation, but there's a way of engaging that can be bad. Exactly. And that's the exact way that they want us to. So how do we face that?
Yeah. Well, to some of the younger kids, I think the way I'd say it is like touch some grass. but you know, for other people,
take your shoes off, run outside.
Yeah, feel the sun on your skin. But I think even like you said, like us talking right now, this is part of it. Like having real engagement, having conversation. Because what the specific thing, and I don't know if we're gonna read the rest later, but like if you listen to the song, they said your obsession feeds our connection.
Yep.
Like it specifically talks about isolation and you being apart and deep diving into that, and the exact opposite, like what, I'm not trying to spoil it if we're going to get to that later, but
spoilers.
Yeah,
but we've already spoiled it, but it's fine.
Yeah, but what pulls them, like the crowd and Mira and Zoe out, is Ruji reaching out. It's that connection. It's that connecting with other people and communicating. And I think the more that we commune with one another and the more that we actually connect and actually try to draw things out of it, I think we can avoid feeding off of it. Because it either goes one of two ways. Either you can feed off of it and we can get stuff out of it, or it's going to feed off of us. It's one or the other. And so we have to make like an intentional and active choice of, it's fine to enjoy things. Like after a long work day, that's not saying like, oh, you can't like relax and enjoy a movie, but we're making a choice that this is to do that. Whereas like with doom scrolling or stuff that, you have to actively step out of that. You're not going to like go through the motions and fade out of that on your own.
Yeah.
And so I think, intentional, active communication and connection with others is like the first and consistent steps you'll have to take in order to like get out of what that digital industry wants from you, which is for you to be like sucked into that whirlpool.
When do you think it's too? So I love that, because that's literally to our mission, which is like it takes talking about deep things to kind of make that happen. But then the next thing being too that like there's something in engaging almost like in the way that they don't want you to, that's part of the value and the benefit. Because it's like what they want is they're not, you know, you do have movies like this where there's like deep themes and stuff like that, but then there's other content where it's just like, it's just big, it's flashy, it's fixed, whatever, and there's like nothing there. It's just
flash.
It's just flash, and it's flash to just kind of like get you blinking and, you know, not thinking. So but we're running out of time and we got to go to our theology section. But closing question or rethink. Favorite song from the soundtrack?
Oh, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
I swear it changes like every other week. Because I'm telling you, any given week, it could be Soda Pop, it could be Your Idol, it could be What It Sounds Like. I'm going to say it's probably What It Sounds Like. This is What It Sounds Like, because, yeah, that one's headbanger.
Yep.
I always have fun with that one.
Dope. I was gonna read some lyrics from that, but for the sake of time, I'll save that for a different moment. So
okay.
All right, on to theology.